I really can't imagine what it must have been like to have somebody grab you and take you through town. Everybody knew that this woman was somebody that was not following Old Testament law. Nobody cared to know her story, but everybody knew. And they take her and they stand her before Jesus and they said, "Teacher," or "Rabbi, we've caught this woman in the act of adultery. Now, in the law, Moses commands us to stone such women. Now, what do you say?" They are using this woman as much as the man who was having an affair with her was using her. They didn't care about her reconciliation. They didn't care about her repentance. They didn't care about her restoration. They only cared that she was a tool for them to be right and Jesus to be wrong. They're trying to trap him. Because if Jesus says, "Go ahead and stone this woman," then he's keeping the Old Testament law, but the people who are following him, the broken and the hurting and the marginalized, will lose faith. And yet if Jesus says, "Don't stone her," then all of a sudden he is saying, disobey what God has written. And so in John chapter 8, verse 7, when they kept questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." He knew they weren't going to throw a stone for two reasons. Number one, they knew they had sin, so if they picked up a rock and threw it, they would be guilty of lying. And lying is such a big deal. You remember the top 10 commandments? Charlton Heston went up and he looked like Moses and he brought him back down from the mountain, right? And so they didn't want to lie, but at the same time, if they picked up a rock and threw it, they would be guilty of committing blasphemy. And the very rock that they threw would be used to throw right back at them. Because if they stated that they had no sin, in a way, they would be claiming to be God. Verse 9. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left with the woman still standing there. And he asked her this question in verse 10. "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you? Neither do I condemn you. Go now and leave your life of sin."